Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will take you to a site that will help you find your birth chart for free, and you can come back and watch the videos. For that, they'll help you understand what's going on with you better overall than you'll just get from just your sun sign. I'd like to thank all of the people who've joined the channel. The channel memberships are now open. There's a button underneath the video there. To the inner circle. It's all really cool, and I'd also like to extend massive thanks to the people who've joined me over on Patreon. Your support means more to me than I can possibly express, but I do have a go every now and again, so I think that you all do know how much I love you. So got some new tiers being added on, well, at least one in the next day or so, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But I think that's everything, so let's get straight in. And can I have 3 cards for Cancer for August, please? Here's the first one. We've got the Devil, or the Horned one, as it is in this deck. The second card is the 9 of Pentacles, and I really like that for you. I like it a lot. And one more for Cancer. What's coming towards Cancer in August, please? Temperance. Fandabidozi. That's the card of Sagittarius in the Major Arcana. We've got the Queen of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. Actually, the Page of Pentacles is first. There. Followed by the Queen of Cups, which is your card, Cancer. Actually, the Knight of Cups as well. The Page of Cups is all about those new starts, right? I see the court hierarchy of the Pentacles. Up to and including the Queen. The King is something different. But the Page, the Queen and the Knight are all different levels of kind of understanding the value of something and wanting to work with it, nurture it, turn it into something beautiful, right? So it's the card of a new start for me because it's a page and it's right at the lowest echelon of that hierarchy. So we've got the main cards. Let's get some clarifiers and we'll get on with this. Okay. We have got the King of Pentacles and we have the 10 of Wands. Interesting. For the 9 of Pentacles we have the Ace of Pentacles. I like that very much. And one more. And the 4 of Wands, even better. I like that. And tell me about Temperance. Why is Temperance here? Justice. And the 6 of Cups. That's interesting. We're going to have a prod around in that a little bit more, I think. But at the bottom of the deck here, we've got the 9 of Wands, and that is a card of boundaries for me, right? It looks like you are getting so much better at erecting personal boundaries, for sure, but maybe even something well, no, I mean, actually, let's go with that because that one seems like the most likely out of all of the things that were just firing across my brain there. Your personal boundaries are something that you've struggled with for a long time, Cancer, and it seems like not only do you now intellectually appreciate the value of these things, but you are now also instituting them and seeing the benefit of them being there, right? The other thing I was going to say was maybe there's a separation of work-life balance that or an achievement of work-life balance that you're maybe able to exercise now in a way that you found difficult before because you found it difficult to say no to people. You know, whether that's your boss or whether you're running your own business, you know, kind of working yourself to an extreme, not taking that time for yourself. I feel like you really are learning to take time for yourself now. And this is good because in the wider picture of what's been going on with Cancer this year, it's kind of fitting in nicely. So, we are going to pull some more cards. I think John. Let's just have a look actually. No, we're going to go with the Shadowscapes actually. Interesting. Just put those over the right way. So the first card that you've got is the Devil. Or, like I said, the Horned one as it appears in this deck. And I kind of like this depiction better than most of the others, because it does got these kind of Christian overtones that don't sit particularly comfortably with me, whereas this is something a bit more wild and rugged. I mean, overall, the message is more or less the same. It's about those fears. It's about the way in which you felt hunted. Why did I use that word? That's interesting. It was not at all what I meant to say, but it's what fell out. Have you been feeling hunted, Cancer? I think given the way that your readings have gone this year, I think it's quite possible that you have, actually. It's that sense of being permanently on guard, kind of hyper-vigilant, that is truly exhausting. And for whatever reason that's been, whether it's been, you know, what's been going on in the wider world has been worrying you in some way, or whether there's something... And I feel like it's possibly work-related for you, actually, or at least responsibility-related for you. It's like it's been a bit of a slave driver for you this year. Yeah, because we've got the King of Pentacles, who is a provider, right? So it doesn't matter that it's king. It could, you know, the gender is not important in tarot. It's like this is the masculine presentation of earth energy. So this is somebody who is responsible for the family as a whole. You know, it's a provider. It's somebody who shows up because they want to, but it's someone who really takes this very, very seriously. And whether that's in the creation of, you know, pentacles, so that you've got food to put on the table for, you know, your friends and family, and I don't know how many of you feed your friends. We've not really seen any friends to be able to feed them of late, I guess, so just your family. But there's an awful lot of responsibility there, kind of implied by that. You have been working yourself a little bit too hard. Now, I know there was this notion of a life overhaul, and that was really quite important in the last couple of reads. So I feel like this is more of a nod towards where you have been and ultimately where you are now, right? So a little less like very recent energy and more like a little bit more distant than we usually see. Let's get a clarifier for that, just because I picked up that Shadowscapes deck anyway. Tell me about the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. What do I need to know about that? I think we've got a couple of cards there. Oh, we've got the Ten of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups. So that's the second time the Ten of Wands is out there. Definitely doubling down on this burdened energy that we've had. I feel like it's... I can't help but feel like it's been you that's been driving you so hard, rather than it being someone else. But I mean, with the King of Pentacles being here, that could well be a boss or some sort of patriarchal figure in your life, right? That's a thing, definitely. And by patriarchal, I just mean somebody who is in charge on the top, you know, in that way that patriarchal stuff works. Let's have a look. King of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands, please. Page of Swords. And whatever the fuck that was. Let's have a look. Fuck. Oh, the Hermit. Yeah. See, I think everything else has taken a bit of a back seat to what it is that you've been trying to achieve, what it is you've been trying to change in the 3D, you know. Yeah, this is where you've been, right? Being your own slave driver, or, you know, being slave driven by somebody else. This Page of Swords is here because it's like a new way of seeing things now. Like you measure your own success in a very different way, and I feel like you're exercising your own energy in a very different way to where you were before, because we've had this issue of not being able to say no to people and kind of pushing and pushing and pushing yourself in order to keep everybody happy. I think that you've kind of stepped back from that a little bit, as we see that with the Hermit card there, right? And you kind of got a lot more information about how you work best now, and you're kind of honouring it, which I really, really like. So then we move to the Center card, and this is your current energy, and by God, that's a wonderful current energy to have. It's the Nine of Pentacles, and it talks about self-sufficiency and independence, right? This is somebody who takes care of their own needs. But notice how the difference between these two cards, well, three cards, I guess, it's quite palpable, right? There's very heavy kind of duty and burden and responsibility here. This is someone who is actually quite liberated by the work that they are doing now, right? Everything's getting paid, everything's, you know, you're just getting really in charge of what it is that you're doing, right? And I love the fact that it's clarified further by the Ace of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles is a potential, right? It is the potential of something new. It could be promotion, it could be a new job, it could be a new house, it could be, if you run your own business, it could be new contracts coming in, you know, things that you can take on. The idea is it's something that improves your material circumstances in some way. It adds value to your life, right? Your life is looking pretty awesome at the moment, right? Because it's a 9, it's talking very much about you and how you feel in what. So you might feel a little bit like things are kind of getting away from you at times, but actually you're quite on top of everything. You should certainly be pleased with yourself. And you're attracting more of this sort of thing towards you, right? High vibe energy is really, really good. But more important than that, you are creating a new foundation for yourself, right? Where you've rejected the old way of doing things. And I called one of your recent videos Life Overhaul, and it really did feel like that's what was going on. Like, you knew things couldn't stay the way that they were because you were becoming exhausted. Well, actually, Cancer, to be fair, you've been exhausted for a very long time. One of the first readings that I did for Cancer on YouTube was specifically dealing with the fact that the emotional turmoil that you were dealing with was actually just fucking wiping you out, and it was leaving very little left for you to improve your life in any way. It seems like you've sorted out all of the things that were stressing you out. You've let go of the burden and you've just kept the stuff, the good stuff, you know. And as a result, new opportunities are coming towards you, and you are creating this foundation for yourself that you have always wanted. And it's a big cause for celebration. Like, it's huge. Just notice I've stopped shuffling and I've got the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck, and that is you. You know, it's a really liberated image there. You know, she's walking along. The camera's not focusing on it. She's walking along on the backs of turtles. Right? She's not looking where her feet are going. She's just kind of arms spread out, and she's just like, boh, boh. And the turtles are just there, right? It's almost like she trusts that she knows she's put in enough groundwork that they just, those turtles are going to be where she needs them to be as she puts each foot down. But more than that, it feels like a cracking open of your emotional place, where it was, you know, classic crab, kind of sucked into yourself and quite armoured on the outside. I feel like you are showing up more authentically in your life now than you ever have before, and you're getting more comfortable with saying no to people. You're getting more comfortable in asserting yourself, and you're getting very, very much more comfortable in the fact that you have emotions and desires and needs and wants, and it is okay for you to put those first above other people, which is not a comfortable place actually generally for Cancer to sit, but you are managing to achieve it in some way. So you've got Ace of Pentacles, Four of Wands. For fuck's sake, fucking cards flying out everywhere. Ace of Pentacles, Four of Wands, please. Is that what I think it is? It is. It's the Ace of Pentacles again. Opportunities coming. As Lulu from House of Oshun would say, the coin is falling. I'm not going to say it in her southern accent because it would just sound ridiculous, but I love the way she does that. I just want to ring a little bell or something. Oh, got two cards here. Five of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Empress at the bottom of the deck here. That's Taurus or Libra energy, but it's about fertility and abundance, right? You are now bringing into your life all of those things that you've kind of struggled for, right? That's what this is. This is struggling. This is poverty. This is lack. This is not having your needs met in some way. And whether that's in the financial sense or whether it's in any of the other energetic resources senses, it's like you're getting on top of this now. Right? You're not actually prepared to let yourself ever get back into this space again because it's fucking miserable, and who wants to live there? Like, you don't want to live there. You didn't want to live there while you were there. And you've come out the other side, right? It's really quite beautiful. I love it. And it's like you seem so far away from where you were, and yet actually you could probably reach out and touch it, because all of these changes that you've made, they've happened in such a short space of time. Like, I feel like a sense of disbelief. You can't quite, when you sit and you think about where you were 6 months ago, you can't quite believe that you are where you are now. It's sort of like, ooh, wow, it's kind of a bit of a head fuck, actually. I got the Knight of Wands. Like, your ability to be present now is so much more than it was before, and you're not all about work, right? King of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands is just work, work, work. It's like, you know, it's driving yourself into the ground. The Knight of Wands is introducing an element of A, being present, but B, fun. We're talking about that work-life balance again. Like, everything is just working at the moment, and it's such a good place for you to be in. But more than that, like, things are starting to feel abundant, which, like, well, it's fucking time, isn't it? You know? So whether this is about, you know, your work, or whether this is just about you kind of sorting your life out a little bit, you know, however it applies for you, things are just so much better. Now, what we've got coming towards you in August is quite interesting, because 2 of the 3 cards are major arcana, and the first one that we've got is Temperance. Now, that's the card of Sagittarius, but I'm not sure that that's relevant. We'll pull some more cards and we'll see. I really like this card because obviously it's a fire element card, because it's a card of Sagittarius, but there's always water depicted on this card, and in this one it's called the Keeper of the Well, and she is in fact, you know, I don't know if the camera can pick that up. You know what? Excuse my squeaky chair. There we go. Right. There. Have a look at that. Right. She is indeed sat in front of a well, but she's underwater as well. And this is your emotional state, Cancer. It's so clear. Like, there's no silt lying around anywhere. You know, it's not getting all mucky with anything. It's not polluted in any way. It is crystal clear. Right? It talks about healing. It talks about hope. It talks about sometimes divine orchestration. We're going to look at the other cards and see what the fuck it's actually talking about, because it's kind of a vague thing to be coming towards you. Certainly on the back of what you've got going on now. Like, if there were other things going on, I'd be like, okay, this is a cool thing, but it's a bit vague. So what we've got here is Justice and the 6 of Cups. Now, Justice is kind of it can talk about legal situations, that's possible. So, you know, anything that involves a court or judges, barristers, whatever, you know. So court cases for sure. But it can also talk about legal contracts and things like that. So, you know, if you've got things upcoming and that sort of thing, then Justice card showing in its upright augurs well for that. But I tend to interpret it as something much, much bigger than that, because it's major arcana, and I think legal stuff is just basic, boring 3D shit, right? It's not always boring and it's not always basic. Sometimes it's really, really important, but you know what I mean. From a kind of detached soul point of view, it doesn't really mean anything at all. For me, it's about bigger notions of karma, about karmic justice, about karmic contracts, karmic bonds, you know, all of this sort of thing. That's here, right? And then we've got the 6 of Cups, which is a card of the past for me. Right? Sometimes it can indicate childhood. Sometimes it can indicate children. Yeah. Maybe if you've got legal situations coming up that involve your kids, then this is a thing, and you can relax because that looks like it's going to go very well. But let's some more cards for this. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Fuck's sake, it's like Queen of Cups has flipped there again. She's quite insistent on showing her face, which is really, really nice. I really like that she's doing that. Now, Justice and the 6 of Cups, please. We've got Justice and the Empress with the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck and the World. Ooh, this is getting juicy. So The High Priestess is the shadow card. The shadow card is the underlying theme for the entire reading, right? Or certainly at this point, this part of the reading. And she deals with inner wisdom, right? She holds a lot of knowledge, but she's about wisdom because it's the application of that knowledge. Now, she's usually quite a passive figure, but she's quite sort of floaty up here. She's the card of Pisces, right? Just kind of floating around up there in the ether. Okay. This deals with your intuition. It deals with your connection to your higher self, to get all spiritual on your ass for just a second, right? It feels like as your emotional state has settled, so your intuition has become actually really rather strong. And as a water sign, it should be strong, right? Because the two things are very closely connected. They're not the same, but they are very closely connected. And water signs seem to be blessed in this area, more so than the other signs. But what we've got here is the world. And I really like this, because the world is the end of a cycle, right? Notice that we've got the moon right up there in the corner. Now that moon, right, the moon is the card of Cancer. It covers the things that are hidden. Things that are obscured from us in some ways, and we see it quite often when we're talking about notions of the shadow and things like that, right? But if you can see, but this woman has what looks to be some sort of moon-esque thing there in her hands, and she's clasping it to herself, right? You're getting a really good understanding of your emotions, right? More than that, she's pressing her third eye to it, which is really cool, because we've got access to higher wisdom here. Your intuition is off the fucking chart at the moment, exactly where it should be. And this connection that you have formed to that is closing out an old cycle that you've been stuck in for quite a long time, right? You've put in all sorts of changes to your life, and that's magnificent. But all they were really doing was kind of barreling you towards the end of a cycle rather than away from an end and towards a beginning, right? This is about kind of tying up the loose ends of stuff. And I feel like that's where justice comes in here, because justice come up twice, and, you know, the message is being really rather strongly driven home. But what's come out underneath justice and the Six of Cups is the Ace of Cups, justice, and the Empress. And I'm really pleased about this, because the Ace of Cups can talk about new love, but I see it more as getting really comfortable with who you are, right? Becoming your own best friend. It's about self-care, self-love. As much as those two phrases have always made me kind of cringe throughout my entire life, there is actually a lot of import that should be put on taking care of yourself first, and particularly Cancer, and I speak as someone who has a Venus in Cancer, right? We put ourselves out far too much for other people, right? Ultimately because we, you know, in some way, you know, externalize onto other people, you know, our validity as human beings, or, you know, our worth, all that kind of thing. It feels like you're starting to try and get a handle on that a little bit now, and then you're kind of keeping it more to yourself, right? Fill yourself up first. But this feels like it actually feels like you're starting to really enjoy being you. Like you're really sitting comfortably in your own skin at the moment, and that's wonderful to see, because somebody who is comfortable in their own skin doesn't project, doesn't externalize. And I feel like the message of the Justice card being there twice is kind of really ramming home the fact that this was something quite important for your soul to learn. Like, you'll choose, you know, what's going to happen when we get down here. We sign up for these karmic contracts, right? And I feel like, to a degree, then by extension, we also sign up for the sign that we want to be, because there's a certain collective lesson that needs learning in there too. And I feel like you're starting to get a handle on it, because look how we go from Justice to the Empress, right? Just take a second to look at those two cards, right? They both are stood on some sort of, you know, woody, branchy thing, right? And there are butterflies all over this. Now, butterflies are symbols of transformation, right? Bear that in mind, that's important. Look how we go from here to here, right? here is the lesson being learned, and here the butterflies are congregating, right? They know that there's some sort of transformation about to occur on this branch here. In this one, this woman is fully in control of those butterflies, right? She is dictating the pace of transformation, and there aren't just a few butterflies, there are fucking hundreds, and you're creating them, right? You're not just transforming yourself, but you're transforming every single aspect of what is around you at the moment, right? It feels like the reason that the Six of Cups is here and the reason that Temperance is here as well is because you are letting go of a past version of you, Cancer. Yeah, and you're healing the wounds that you've identified. In turn, this is putting you in touch with your intuition. You're being guided really strongly in one direction or another. Yeah. And you're tying up a cycle, which is awesome. I'm going to leave it there and head over to the extended now. So if this resonates with you at all, feel free to come and join me. The link's down there in the description somewhere. It'll take you to Vimeo. If not, then fucking well done, Cancer. This is awesome. I'm really enjoying what I see here for you. So yeah, take care, and I'll see you, if not in a minute over at Vimeo, then in about 10 days for the mid-month readings. All right, take care.